Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Thursday, February the 13th. I'm Bishop Darrell Watkins, the senior minister here at Sunshine Cathedral. With me today is Sunshine Cathedral's executive minister. It's also my husband, Bishop Robert Griffin, Sunshine Cathedral's Minister of Connections, the Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, and Sunshine Cathedral's Minister of Education, Reverend Kevin Tisdall. Visit sunshinecathedral.org to learn more about our progressive faith community and how you can be a part of it no matter where you live in the world. And if you live in South Florida, be sure to check out the Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts, offering entertainment for the LGBTQ+ community to benefit the LGBTQ+ community. Queer God Squad was created by Hotspots Happening Out to support our mission to explore the value of faith in the LGBTQ community. In 2025, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of Hotspots Magazine, the 5th anniversary of Queer News Tonight, and we produced the 25th anniversary of Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. We're the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media organization in America, and we encourage you to support our mission to inform, entertain, and educate our community and allies. If you enjoyed the Queer God Squad, please share this or other episodes with your friends, family, and social media communities. This is the Sunshine Cathedral Perspective. Is a governmental task force bad news for religious freedom and for queer people? Following a February the 6th prayer breakfast, Donald Trump said that he wants to root out, quote, anti-Christian bias, end quote, in the U.S., announcing that he was forming a task force led by the Attorney General to investigate the, quote, targeting of Christians. A less pious president has rarely sat in the Oval Office. A champion of the oppressed, Trump ain't. In these hardly united states, Christians are much more likely to be oppressors than oppressed when it comes to faith practice anyway. One wonders if there are meant to be task forces for anti-Muslim bias, anti-humanist bias, anti-Jewish bias, anti-Hindu bias, anti-Sikh bias, anti-science bias, anti-intellectual bias, and anti-Satanism bias. If not, isn't this just pandering to his right-wing Christian nationalist base? And the Queer God Squad is concerned that his anti-Christian bias plan will prove to be discriminatory and cruel to members of the LGBTQ+ community. Certainly, because part of this right-wing so-called Christian agenda is anti-LGBTQ, it's anti-drag performance, it's anti-trans, to the point of trying to erase their presence in our site. It is trying to erase our stories in public spaces like schools and libraries. And so, yeah, the people driving these draconian policies they're not suffering bias. Hello, their history isn't being erased. Their performances aren't being shut down. They're not being censored. So, as Jesus often said, bitch, please. I don't. They just can't write it on the screen. But seriously, I mean, come on, this is so ridiculous. It is offensive because what this is giving a particular faith tradition, which isn't Christianity. I mean, when you think about the broad umbrella of Christianity with the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church and the Latter-day Saints and the liberal Protestants and the conservative Protestants and Pentecostals, Christianity is a big tent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so within all of that, there's this group that is trying to dress Christian nationalism up as Christianity and is giving that group power at the expense of all these other groups. Mm-hmm. And then not to mention all the people beyond Christian labels, Jews, Muslims, so forth, Hindus, Buddhists. So to give this section of so-called Christians the weight, the political power of the government is obscene. It is itself oppressive. If they only did nice things, it's oppressive. Mm-hmm. To give that sort of privilege and preference to one religious group, especially one whose religious group is so toxic. I mean, the theology of this group involves a literal return of Jesus that would wait in 2,000 years. I'd give up and have done. But his little return. And that return is going to involve chaos and destruction and devastation, but their group is going to be spared all that. They're going to get sucked into the heavens. P.S. That story is nowhere in the Bible. They have one verse from Paul that they've twisted into this weird sci-fi thing No, none of that's going to happen. But because they believe it happened, they do everything they can to make that happen. They've decided it's going to happen in Israel, so they were super Zionists. They have decided that they are meant to rule during this, millennium or whatever after it happens. And so everyone who's not in the club, they're being, they have a lot of bigotry toward. That's gays, that's trans, that's women who think they own their own bodies. So this is a white supremacist cult that is calling themselves Christian, and they have now been given the power and the authority and the backing of the government. That is unconstitutional, because we're supposed to have an establishment clause. Is that still around?
As of today.
Is there an executive order that's changed the Constitution? We don't even have to have all the process. But we're supposed to have we do have an establishment clause. And this group is decidedly and unashamedly, they don't try to hide it. They are anti-gay, they are anti-trans, they are anti-choice. And so, yes, this is a threat. This is a threat to liberty. This is a threat to freedom. This is a threat to religion that doesn't look like theirs, to religion that isn't hateful, to religion that isn't exclusive, to religion that isn't micromanaging your body and your thoughts and your love life. So, and I do remember Jesus, in particular, had a big problem with religious authorities. We would say Salt Lake City or Vatican City today. The centralized powers of his religious movement, big problem, but it has a lot. And he had big problems with the government trying to control, because the leaders of his government had this stamp of approval of his movement, stamp of approval of the government. So the temple authorities and the Roman authorities were in league. He had problems with both. And then within a few hundred years, within about 300 something years of Jesus, then Constantine does the exact same thing, but with Christianity, puts the power of the Roman Empire, which is why we have the Roman Catholic Church.
Yes.
And so this is never a good idea. And we can only do what we can do. We're not omnipotent. We can't stop everything, but we should never let this sort of thing go by with our silence. Sometimes we can turn it around, sometimes we can't, but let it never be done with the complicit approval of our silence.
Absolutely. This has been going on for a while. I remember hearing, and I know that we all have, we've heard, particularly around the holidays, when people would say happy holidays, and people would get all up in arms because you didn't say Merry Christmas. For God's sakes, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. There are many, many holidays, and just because this specific group of Christians, and I use quotes, Christians, have decided that theirs is most important, everything else is relegated to the sidelines. You don't get to do that. And now to bring that into law, this anti-Christian bias, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
No, they're not being oppressed.
And Christmas is never meant to be a national holiday.
Exactly.
It's a religious holiday.
Yeah.
Like Ramadan. I mean, it's a religious holiday, and you're meant to enjoy it in your home or in your place of worship. I shouldn't have to tell the lady at Eckerd's Merry Christmas.
Exactly. Come on. Yeah.
Well, this just in. President Trump signed an executive order recently to establish the White House Faith Office. Now, that faith office is supposed to work with faith leaders on topics including defending religious liberty. Do they mean all religious liberty?
I'm guessing probably not.
Or do they mean just Christian nationalist
Their version
of liberty?
I'm saying, is there a Unitarian Universalist on that on that committee? Is there a Jewish rabbi on that committee?
No, and the fun part is the person that he chose to lead the group is Pastor Paula White Cain. She is a, what do you call it?
Oh, no.
She believes in prosperity. She's a prosperity gospel. And that means that anything that you do to make money is good with her. And the fun part about
you break off her piece.
Is she's coop money.
Yeah.
The best part about this is that Christian conservative groups are 100% against her. They are yelling at Trump for putting her in there because of the prosperity.
Oh, because she's not very
preaches.
narrow.
She's not
niche of the charismatic.
Yeah. So we're not going to get anything from this White House that's going to be positive for but a very small group of people. And I am no longer tired of saying it, but we need to pay attention to what they're doing and how fast this government, this administration is moving forward with their desire to destroy the Constitution completely. They have no desire to have that Constitution stand. And what this guy's doing right now is he's dumping as much as he can on us.
That is a strategy.
Right.
And daring us to go to court. And that's another piece of the strategy, because it gets held up in the courts. And I have no confidence that the items that make it to the nation's court, the Supreme Court, are going to come out the way the Constitution says
Best
that
for
they
the country.
should.
Yep.
I am worried about so much of where this country is, and I am convinced that this guy wouldn't know Jesus if he stepped up and slapped him, because that brown-haired, hippie-looking guy from
Talking all
Africa,
that woke BS.
Yeah.
talking that woke stuff, boy, oh boy, I'm not happy.
So when you was talking about, Sister Paula White, Sister Paula Fake, I thought you was going to say the reason the church was upset with her and why they was against her was because she divorced her first husband while having an affair.
No.
She married her second husband and divorced him because she was caught cheating. She married her third husband, which happened to be a rock star band group, embezzled the band's money, and then set up a Ponzi scam. So,
Oh, just a paragon of
between him and her, they're in good company. So I can see why he would choose somebody like her. And this is the same woman that he, in his last administration, wanted to place as the head chaplains over the Veterans Administration, and they revolted. It's like, you just can't. She has no credentials.
She's not
to do that.
She's not a veteran herself. And Google her right now. Any biography you can find about her, you will not see a seminary mentioned, a Bible college. You will not see that
anything.
You will not see that she prepared in any way for this role.
And the other thing that triggers me about this particular story is also the weaponization of the Attorney General's office once again.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
he's doing exactly what he claimed someone else was doing, but now he himself is doing it.
Imagine that.
And I'm almost sad for the person who's the current Attorney General, because I wonder how he feels now to be a lapdog.
She.
I'm sorry, she has to be a lapdog to this
I don't
president.
think dogs are safe in her presence.
And so I'm just like, okay, this is just like, okay, I'm just gonna do what this guy tells. I have no standing of my own as Attorney General. I have to do exactly what this person tells me, and now I'm being weaponized to set up this task force.
That's what she did here, but that's what she did here in
Pam
Florida.
Bondi.
She's not worried about it. She sold her soul so long ago.
That's what she did in Florida.
But I'm like, but just like, really, I mean, weaponization of this to go after groups of people who are already stretched and doing good on a social issue for a lot of reasons. But this is the group that you want to target.
Yeah.
And if you target this group and you take out this group, what are you going to replace it with? Nobody's going to do anything but sit around and pontificate about doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And something like 70% of the country say they attend Christian services with some regularity, whether it's 6 times a year or every month or every 3 weeks. Like over 2/3 of the country say they worship with some regularity in a Christian space. How do you get anti-bias out of their everyone?
Yeah. They're just shouting.
And I wonder if we'll be able to segregate out her feelings if she goes to church, and how her church feels about what now she's not being asked to do.
Things that make you go,
Well, that's it for today's Queer God Squad.
Before we go, we want to invite you to join Sunshine Cathedral on a wonderful travel experience and help our mission for our community. Join us on the Florida AIDS Walk Pride Cruise. This unique 3-day cruise will sail from Miami on the $1 billion and ultra deluxe 170,000-ton MSC Seascape on November 2nd, 2025. The cruise is for the Florida AIDS Walk. Your participation helps 13 vital beneficiaries in our community. The cruise is an incredible value starting at just $199 and is also a fundraiser for the Sunshine Cathedral. Parties, special events, and more aboard, including a special unlimited beverage and open bar with Wi-Fi for all 3 days for just $68. We invite you to join us on this amazing cruise for fun, this vital cruise for good.
We want to thank you for joining us today. We're here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBT community is talking about. Sunshine Cathedral is the world's leading progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together.
We all are in this together. Remember that.
You are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.